because of COVID, our events kind of didn't go through. It was a good gap that we had in our schedule. I kind of just, bought this mic, interviewed our first guest, Alister Coleman, who was a partner at a VC fund that we partnered with, Folklore. And it was received quite well. And that encouraged me, I guess, to keep going, interview more people, and keep shining a light on the stories of people in the tech space. I think there's a lot of, I think people in the community really resonate with stories because they can see all the things they can do in the future. And so it was just a way of sharing those stories.
Yeah. So to date, Saurav, you've recorded around 14 or 15 interviews. Obviously, you've canvassed a diverse range of people. Just out of my own curiosity, I wanted to understand, did you find that as a host of the podcast that people were saying similar things? Were they trying to get consistent themes and messages across to young people? Or was it just totally random and totally diverse to that end?
Yeah, no, good question. I think one that has been really common is everyone encourages you to take risks, especially early in your career. There's this, I guess, dogma around going to university for 4 to 5 years and then going into a corporate job. But I guess by virtue of being in the startup and tech scene, a lot of these guests have recommended that when you're in your 20s, it's the time to try different things, try to start a company, join a scrappy startup, because let's say the startup fails, you can always go back to the corporate route if you want to. But, let's say you spend 5-6 years in a corporate, maybe then then life sort of happens along the way. Like you start a family, you get responsibilities kind of thing. And it's harder to take those risks in the future. And I think Alister, our first guest, said, you're not really going to have a failure unless you have a failure of ethics or a failure of values. And I found that really insightful. Another way I've heard it put is that there's a difference between job risk and career risk. And so a lot of people think startups are risky. And so on that job risk and career risk point, at a startup, your job risk is quite high, meaning that there's a risk that your company is going to fail and your job is going to vanish. But your career risk, which is the risk of your career falling apart, is very low, because even if the startup fails, there'll always be a story you can tell in the future of saying, what you did when things got tough, how you took part in challenges. And so startups aren't really that risky. So that kind of whole risk point is something that's been mentioned quite a lot.